Cheesecake Factory has the Indian taco. It's
Oh,
$16. It's this big with spirit plate portions. I mean, $16. And who do you got back there? Gordon Ramsay? No, you can't. You got to move the dough this way. It's like, dude, no, you can't, bro. No, and stick to tea and crumpets, bro.
This episode is dedicated to the loving memory of Reggie Matthews. Thank you for being there for Mike.
All right, so welcome back, everyone, to another episode, episode 7 of Yo FM, Pursuing Ancestral Medicine. I'm here with my co-host,
Vanessa Nina Tapia, coming to you from Plains Miwok territory.
Yeah, today I'm very pleased and honored to be presenting our next guest, Mike J. Marin. He's a great guy. A lot of you guys will know him from his award-winning film and all the great projects he's working on. But you know, I got to meet Mike as a great stand-up guy. So I guess I get to say I get the best of both worlds with Mike, award-winning, you know, producer and director, and a great overall guy. So we're pleased to introduce Mike with us today. Mike, how you doing?
I am doing great, and thank you very much for having me. And I am here in Tongvaland, Tongva territory, known colonized name as Los Angeles. And it's great to be here. Thank you very much, both of you, for having me.
Of course, Mike, it's a pleasure to have you. I've been telling Vanessa, you know, I'm really excited for this conversation to have with Mike. He's a great guy. He's got a lot of anecdotes, a lot to look forward to today's episode. So without saying any further, Mike, would you tell us a little bit about yourself so the audience can get to know you the way we know you?
All right. How long is this podcast? No. My name is Mike J. Marin. I am Navajo, Laguna Pueblo, Washoe, Mexican. I was born and raised in East Oakland, California, to a Navajo, Laguna Pueblo mother and a Washoe Mexican father. My parents met on relocation in the 1960s in the Bay Area. And it's kind of interesting that I have an affinity for scary movies because their first date, my dad actually took my mom to see Psycho in the theater. So I think that kind of planted the idea before I was even born. So currently I am living the dream as a independent filmmaker in Los Angeles. This is what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to tell stories, more importantly, Native themed stories told by a Native person, because I'm a firm believer that only we can tell our stories without being the backdrop or without being whitewashed or, hollywashed, as we call it out here. And it's fun. I'm thoroughly enjoying myself. Currently, I am working independently as a action figure photographer. And I'm an avid collector of action figures. And they're not toys. Let me just state they're not toys. They're collectibles. But yes, that's what I do. And it's fun. It's a great hobby. That's pretty much it. I mean, I'm an artist at heart, which means I'm very critical of myself. And I love movies. I love film. I love let me just say that I love art of all kinds, no matter what it is. I believe that it's the creation from nothing, and I respect all forms of it. I'm not critical. I'm a firm believer that you can't really teach art because it's all based on the individual on the inside, what they're feeling. It's kind of like judging poetry or judging art. You're kind of judging that person. And I think it's like water. You just got to let it flow and see where it goes, see what it shapes, and then see what it turns into. So, and everybody knows that water leads to a much bigger picture. So, but yeah, man, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. And I'm just excited to be, alive. Every day above ground is a great day. So, I love just life. I love life after the trials and tribulations. This is where I'm at, and this is where I choose to be, and I'm very grateful. So, yep.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Mike. Like I said, It's really a pleasure to have you with us today. There's so much to you that I don't think an hour can possibly do justice to touch all these topics. You know, so we're gonna have to extend the invitation, maybe have you a second time so we can.
Yes, there you go.
The Mike Chronicles.
Do a little mini series.
There we go.
Absolutely, Mike. Yeah, you're welcome back on the show whenever you want.
Oh, thank you.
So, Mike, you finished the introduction of yourself with a very deep, very deep note to it. You said, I'm just happy to be alive." I thought it's very powerful. After all your accomplishments, after all the journey you've been through, you still go back to this idea of both humbleness, but also recognizing, that it's been a journey.
I think my journey took me here to the point where I actually believe in myself. It's all about the expression. It's all about it's what you believe in. And at this age, it doesn't, there's no time limit. I could be 80 years old and say, oh my God, I'm sexy as hell. I'm all wrinkly, but oh my God, it took me this long to realize that, I'm hot. If that ever happened, but I'm just, metaphorically speaking, but yeah, it's something that saved my life. I think a lot of it was nurtured by my best friend. His name was Reggie Matthews. He was a comedian. Really, really funny guy who went to high school together. We met in high school and became friends ever since. And I lost him last April. Huge loss I'm still mourning that guy. Like, we have those people in our life that when we lose them, we never get over it. The people that actually take a piece of your heart with them, that's him for me. Is there, my heart will never be whole because he's gone. But Reggie, oh my God, man, this dude's humor was just, one of the last times we hung out, we were in Alameda, California, and we're walking down this street. It's called Park Street. It's like all these shops and stuff. There's this bookstore, had its books on the sidewalk. And they had this book called Thug Kitchen. Eat Like You Give a Fuck. Okay, that was the title of the book. So Reggie was like, I got to do Reggie justice. Right? So Reggie's like, oh, nigga, look at this shit. So he takes the book off. He's leaving through. He goes, first of all, Thug Kitchen. Eat like you give a fuck. He goes, now, this is some cultural appropriation bullshit. He's looking through the book and he goes, what is it? Sourdough French toast. He goes, who's thugging that way? He goes, ain't no niggas in the hood that's sourdough. You get one kind of bread and you make that bread work for everything. Ain't no nigga can afford a sourdough bread in the hood. But that was just his humor. Like, we were driving around one time. He goes off on this thing about how white people ruined hamburgers. And he's like, when I want a hamburger, I don't want no charcoal briquette, like flame broiled. Fry it up. He goes, white people done messed up. Tacos, burritos, cereal. When he said cereal, I lost it. I lost it. But I had to tell you guys a story that was just one of the most beautiful stories ever. And it's this. Reggie hit a rough patch in his career. And a lot of shows. He wasn't getting booked for a lot of shows. And he and I were talking, and he's like, Slim, that was my nickname for him, Slim. He goes, Slim? He's like, I think I'm gonna have to do that one thing that just weighs on a man, just kills a man. I was like, what's that? He goes, nigga, I'm gonna have to get a job. I was like, oh, okay. And he was Joe. He's always worked. He's like, I'm gonna have to get a job. He's like, so a couple of weeks go by, and we go out to dinner. I was like, he had a show booked in Palo Alto, and at this comedy club called, I forgot what it was, Comedy Factory or something like that. And so I was like, hey, Blood, how was the show? How'd you do? And he's like, Blood. He's like, eh. He goes, remember I told you I was having that crisis? I was like, yeah. He goes, well, last night I said, how'd you do? He's like, man, he goes, I was sitting in the green room, going over my material in my head, going over it, He goes, I hear other guys killing it out there laughing. And I'm just like, shit, am I going to bomb or what am I going to do? What's going to happen with me? He goes, so they, the green light comes on. That when the green light comes on, you have to get ready. It's like green light comes on means 5 minutes. He goes, so I got 5 minutes. I got to stand, get loosened up. He goes, and he's like, so I go out there. He's like, I get on stage, and he goes, I'm just kind of absorbing everything, looking at the people, looking at the faces. And he goes, and I go into my routine. And he just sits there, and he's like, I was like, what did you, what happened? He's like, nigga, I killed it. He goes, I killed it. He goes, that was the defining moment in the green room when I was saying, if I bomb, I quit. If I move, if I get, cheers and laughter, I'll keep going. I'll give it a shot. He's like, I nailed it. And I can't do this story justice without the picture. Mm. So he said, I was like, so, how did you feel? He goes, blood. He goes, I was just like, he goes, the rhythm, everything was good. The rhythm, and I had my jokes on point. People were laughing. I shut down a couple hecklers. He goes, and clomped them out. I did really good. They want me to come back. I was like, that's the shit I'm talking about. He goes, so I went outside. He goes, I had some water. He goes, I went outside to get some air because I had to take the air in. He goes, he goes, I'm out there, and people are walking by. Good show, brother. Good show, brother. Good show. He goes, I feel this on my shoulder. He goes, and I hear this voice say, hey man, that's really good. You're really funny. I'd like to see more of your stuff. He said, I turned around, and this is who it was. Robin Williams.
Oh my God, no way.
It's Robin Williams.
Oh my God.
Came and saw his show because he heard about my boy.
Wow.
So he wanted to see him.
Wow.
And it's that story that makes me happy that I got to share that Reggie and I were that close. Like, to hear that story always makes me feel good because he didn't give up. He found that in him to not give up. And that's what I carry in my heart, as I can't give up. Anytime I want to quit, I hear him like, Slim, Slim, just keep putting that foot forward. If that door closed, kick that motherfucker open and tell him, hey, I'm like motherfucking Marin. This is who I am. You're going to know me. So he never, like, that story always gets me because he didn't quit. Like he didn't quit. He didn't give up. He never gave up on me. He never gave up on himself. And he never asked for anything. Like, out of all my friends and family, he never asked for help. And I think in the end, that's what killed me, because when he was sick, he didn't tell us. He didn't reach out. And I know he was depressed. I know he had anxiety. His ex-wife wore him down, and he loved his kids. He did whatever. This man would jump over a dime to make $1, and vice versa for his kids. He would do whatever he could for his kids. Never let up on his kids, never shirked his responsibilities as a father. But he never told us he was sick. And then when we found out, it devastated us because he didn't want help. See, to me, that he had that warrior mentality. Because no matter what he's going through, he pushed through it to make other people happy. But for us, I feel I failed him because I didn't know. I have that guilt. I wasn't there for him when he needed me the most. I was here or in Chicago. But yet, our last time we hung out, he just told me that. He said that I was the one that he felt privileged to know, because he saw a side of me that I never share with anybody. He knew everything about me. And for him to tell me that, like, dude, even though everything I just said about him, he said about me. It's like, nigga, you didn't let that shit kill you. Like, we would have never, a lot of people tell me, we would have never thought that you faced depression. We would have never thought you did. I was like, man, and it takes me back to Robin Williams.
Yeah.
How many of us thought he was going through that? It's Robin Williams. He's funny, man, but yet you never know. And that's why the lesson learned here is you have to ask your loved ones every day, how you doing? Do you need to talk? What do you need? Whatever you need, you tell me. If I can't get it, I'll find some way to get it for you. I'm here to help you out. But Reggie taught me all that. He was one of my greatest teachers. As much as I look up to my dad, and as much as scars I got from my father, like Reggie to me was like that wisdom. He was good medicine. He was my medicine. He had every answer for everything I ever needed. And without him, now it's funny, without him, I have to adult. Without him there to catch me, I have to learn how to walk. I had to learn how to walk. I had to learn how to be a man. I had to learn how to be an adult without him. And that's how much I love him, is I look up to him as he was my father figure, because he knew everything, and I remember, this is how brutally honest he was. I made a mistake one time and I asked him what he thought about it. And he just sat there and he goes, "Do you want me to be honest with you?" I was like, "Yeah, man, let me have it." He goes, "Man, you an asshole. You a fucking asshole. You know that? You nigga, you stupid and you're an asshole. But I understand why you did it." And it's like that hit, but I'm gonna hand you the napkin for your bloody nose. But that's the way he was. Like Reggie was, he was the best friend I could ever have, the best brother I could ever have. And I love the fact that I knew him, that we knew each other. And I know he's saving me a seat. When you get those people in your life, those ones you hold close to your heart, closer inside your heart, beyond your heart, man, those are the ones that you cherish. You love them wholeheartedly, unconditionally, as much as you can, because you never know. You never know what's going to happen. So yeah, that's where I get my humor from that dude. Helped nurture it. He helped me find the smiles and the, as Reggie would say about things that I thought were cool but weren't. He'd always say, "Slim, no matter how much syrup you pour on shit, it ain't ever going to be pancakes." And that's the last thing I'll leave you guys with Reggie.
It's a good one. Mike, first of all, thank you for all that, because it's like I mentioned to you in the email, and you are the steward of your story, and what you're sharing with us, comes from your heart, and it's impactful, and we can feel it in your words. We can see it even if it's through a screen. You can feel the emotion in you.
As a Native American male in the inner city growing up, you weren't allowed to cry. It was a no-no. You're weak, you're lame. What you crying for? You a punk, you a bitch. What's the matter with you? Why are you crying? All that just impedes on you, your mental state, to where you can't do it, to where the worst happens. The worst being it being cyclical. And you project that onto your loved ones and your youth, the youth that you're taking care of, and you have to find that point where you check yourself and actually tell yourself it's okay to not be okay. It's all right to not be okay. And to finally look inside yourself and say, like I said before, enough. I'm going to break down and I'm going to cry. I'm going to hurt, and it's okay. And so you do. I think that's for a lot of young men, older men, we have to be able to open that floodgate and just let that pain out and say, let it consume us. We've all heard of the good cry. It's okay to have a good cry. It's okay. But to have a hurricane flood of emotion just break the dam of resilience, that resilience being, I'm not going to cry, I'm not going to break, I'm tough, I'm a man. Men don't do that. To be able to just let it break, let the cracks consume us, let it flow. And then in a sense, it's turning the soil, because that creates a new us. Spiders molt. insects molt, and then they become something beautiful. And I think for myself, that was the breakthrough, was to realize that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to cry. And I don't care what anybody says, because it makes my heart stronger. It makes me stronger because it makes me more attuned to things that hurt other people, to where I can extend that hand and say, hey man, I'm right here. I got 2 good ears. I got a big heart. I got hands to hold your hands if you need it. And I think there's not enough of us that have experienced that breakthrough yet. I stress yet, in the hope that someday it does come to that. And then all of us can help each other out in ways that we've never experienced before, even with our own family members, that helping hand from someone that may not know you, but yet know what you're going through. I think that's really important in being a man. Is, in my opinion, being a man is you feel things, because how else can you move forward if your foot is stuck in a rut? You got to be able to focus on things that matter, and the first is self. Because if the self isn't healthy, it can't heal anything else. And I think that it was more beneficial because it came from me. It wasn't, and by all means, I'm not putting down therapy or putting down antidepressants or anything. I've had therapy and it didn't really take, and I've never taken antidepressants, but I think for me, that was that thing, melding those art mediums together to create something like this, to help move me forward. I think that was my therapy.
So art is medicine.
Oh yes. Yeah, because we create our own. We create our own, and it surrounds us, not to lean into the Star Wars side, but it surrounds us and binds us together. It is true. That philosophy is true.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, Mike. I like to, you said you called it a life-saving project. I had a friend once who called this creation of something that's life-saving a healing project. So I like calling them healing projects, but hearing you talk about the life-saving project of creating art, it just reminded me of my friend and her, talking about her healing projects. So I'm just really grateful that we have you on today. I think with May, this is our first, we started the podcast in April, but we really launched it in May. It's our full month having the podcast, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I'm just really grateful that you're on here, talking about mental health too, and how this has been a huge component in your well-being. Because men's mental health is not discussed enough. The data out there is just, there's a lot of silence because there is so much stigma. There's so many misconceptions that if men were to discuss their mental health in a real way, in a vulnerable way, that somehow it's a sign of weakness. And it's not. We know it's not. So you sharing your story, even on Instagram, when I saw that clip, I got really excited because I'm like, wow, he's sharing his story. He's sharing something that was really difficult for him to go through. And now there's something that's tangible for him to help get him through. And I was just really proud of you. So this is my first time meeting you, but I just got to say, when I saw that clip, I was like, wow, I'm really proud of Mike. I'm really proud of Mike. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chet. That means a lot. That really means a lot. I appreciate you. Thank you. Both of you. Thank you. And going back to what you said, I think, especially, I can only speak from the perspective of a Native American male. And to even add to that, a Native American male born and raised in the inner city, in an urban area, in very, sketchy neighborhoods, you have to be tough. I mean, a big milestone in my journey was, and anybody from Oakland, California, especially East Oakland, California, knows that you're an old man if you live to 25. If you live to 25, you're an old man. And I did. I was one of the lucky ones that was able to survive Oakland, if you want to say that.
I'm so moved by Mike. I am, because it's like you're hitting all the marks of what I know for me has been helpful. I've gone through my own journey, especially when it comes to mental health. You got to listen. Biggest thing is to listen. And I remember Sai and I talking about this, like being a witness to someone's story. Being a witness to someone's story can be powerful. It can be like how you said, that avenue of protection and healing. And it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for someone to have that release and that mental break from, anything that they're going through. So definitely for our audience members, remember, listen.
I was told yesterday at a local collectible shop, they need somebody. So I might be working at a collectible shop. I told them you can pay. I said, you can pay me in toys. Dr. Marin was like, you better not have told him that. So yeah, so good. And it'll feel good because I haven't, ever since I retired from teaching, I haven't worked. I've never not worked. This is the first time I've not worked in this amount of time. So I think getting out there, and Dr. Marin's like, even if it's just a part-time job, something to get you out of the house. And who could think of a better place?
Yeah.
An action figure photographer, collector working in a collectible shop. I mean, that's big. It just shows me that there's a balance in my life. Can't have the good without the bad. And so keep it coming, because once again, damn it, I tried. At least I did that.
Mike, we're gonna have you again, hopefully soon, and you can share more with us about your work and
okay, I see our code names here. You're Kendra and I'm Ananda.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I was looking at that when we first started recording. I was like, oh, do I change that? Or either way, you know what? We have strong women backing us up. So
there you go. That's
all right. See, we fit it. We fit in their world. So yes, we always want to put a label on things. I think. Okay. So who has the best casino? Who gets the biggest per cap? Whose tribe survived trauma the most? Whose tribe's going to survive? What tribe is most flourishing? No. The universal conflict with all of our tribes is who makes the best fry bread. That's it. If we had ultimate fry bread, I mean, you think about it, like I can't stand. Cheesecake Factory has the Indian taco. It's $16. Yeah. It's this big with spirit plate portions. I mean, $16. And who do you got back there? Gordon Ramsay? No, you can't. You got to move the dough this way. It's like, dude, no, you can't, bro. No, and stick to tea and crumpets, bro. No, you have to native hand. It's elements. Like if you like people tell, how come your fry bread's so good? It's like, because as soon as I'm done with it, I bleed in it. And they're like, what? I was like, yes. Okay. So now you have a bunch of like top chefs bleeding in their fry bread. But that's true, right? You gotta look at what's tangible. And to me, it's like, okay, I don't want to know who builds the biggest casino. I want to know who has the best affordable fry bread. And even so, that's comical because fry bread is not a traditional native food. It's a survival food. And survival foods are those things that we pay so much dollars for at Wolfgang's. And that is things like fresco tacos, veggie, vegan burrito. It's like, Ananda and I were talking the other day. I was like, what's funny is we're by this taco stand that has a line around the block. There's little Mexican dudes or Latino people. They're making money off of stuff that is survival food. Like what non ethnic people would consider like cuisine. It's like, shit, beans and rice, that was just to feed 20 kids. Half of them aren't even mine. It's that. And then here we're paying $10 at El Pollo Loco for a, please sir, may I have some more portion? And it's just funny. It's survival food has become cuisine. And that's just, to me, that's funny. Yeah. Like how much would green chili stew and mutton go for at like Spago if they served it at Spago? It would look pretty. The presentation would look pretty. The mutton would look like toothpicks with a piece of meat on it, and you're paying $23 for it. The wine is cheaper than the food, but it's like, you really want to go to Get that. Go to Flagstaff. Go to Holbrook, Arizona. Turn left at the Rock, and take a right at the Sagebrush, and you'll find like grandma's, mutton stand right there. That's where you get the best food. And I think that we are all committing crimes by buying food that pretty much we can make our own.
Yeah.
Like even I've committed that. I have a fridge full of lunch meat, but I'll still go to Subway. And it's like, dude, what's this? Bad Mike, But for me, I think one of the biggest things, I think all of us can relate to this, is eating at home with family, like mom and mom, dad and dad, whoever the parent is. That's the best, because you can't get that food nowhere else. Even though my mom can't make fried bread for beans, I still love her cooking. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just talking. I love talking with you both. I mean, it's really just making my heart good.
I'm glad.
Yeah, it's a really good conversation, Mike. Thanks for sharing all those stories. A lot of them are quite funny, to be honest, man.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Maybe we can move into a little bit about the work that you do, the films that you've made, the action figure photography that you've done. I admit, when I saw the trailer for the smudging, I'm scared. I like Godzilla movies, and I like the old vampire movies, but when it comes to like the recent stuff, it's so real, like the way people film these things. And so I saw the trailer and I was already freaking out. I was like, oh, I can't watch this whole thing. I can't watch. There was a second trailer and I couldn't watch it, but I want to watch it. I want to explore that. And I am fascinated by horror because I watch my husband. He's a big gamer, so he plays these games, and it's called like Let's Play, where I watch him play these really scary games that, I mean, Five Nights at Freddy's. There's this one called I think it was called Dawn, something about Dawn, and it was about Wendigos. It was crazy. Wow. I'll watch him play these games, and he's so chill about it. He loves horror. One of our first dates, he went and took me to see this one film. I don't remember what the name was called. I blocked it out, but it had a pyramid head. It was from a game too. It was really crazy.
Silent Hill.
Silent Hill. Oh my gosh, yes. So your fascination with horror really intrigues me, because I would like that. That's something that I wish I could sit through a whole movie and not, shit my pants. Like, I just want to watch it and enjoy it too. So your fascination with horror, I'm wondering, why horror, and how is that different, presenting horror like in film to audiences than in any other genre?
Why horror? Yeah. Why not? Yeah. I would say I want to start this off with my directing idol is and always will be the legendary John Carpenter of Halloween, The Fog, Escape from New York, Big Trouble in Little China. I mean, John Carpenter, just, if you see this man, hey. I got to actually meet him and sit with him for about 20 minutes at an event and talk with him about, making horror movies. And the best thing I've ever heard from him was when I asked him, presented myself and actually gave him a copy of The Smudging. And I said, can you watch this and let me know what you think? He's like, yeah, man, sure. And I asked him, what advice do you have for an upcoming independent filmmaker that I can carry with me as a badge of honor? And he said, horror movies are the best because everyone has fun. It's fun. We all have fun. And then he said, don't do comedies. Comedies are a pain in the ass. Everybody ends up hating each other, and it's just not a good time. When I asked him about being an independent filmmaker, he said, you know what, man, just have fun. 2 words, have fun. Have fun and keep it yours. Because once you sell over to the studios, it's their project. You're just the name on it. And that doesn't even hold weight. So John Carpenter, thank you very much for those words. Another great horror director I met was another master of horror, Don Coscarelli of the Phantasm franchise and of a cult classic, Bubba Hotep, and John dies at the end. When I met him, same thing. He's like, man, just have fun doing your projects, just have fun doing them. So when I compiled all these stories from the American Indian Center of Chicago, when I lived in Chicago, and I worked there in their youth program and talked to community members and the staff of this building, their former site was where I filmed the smudging was a former Masonic temple. It's 4 stories of just this huge building. And as things go, as ghost stories go, everybody told me when I first started there, nobody goes up to the 4th floor. We keep that 4th floor closed up. Nobody goes up there. So much stuff has happened up there. We don't let. So when I decided to film the smudging, I said, I'm going to shoot it on the 4th floor, because I'm the kind of kid that, if there's something in the closet, I want to fling that closet open and say, hey man, I see you, get out, and I think for me, the horror genre is fun because I don't ride roller coasters. I just don't like them, never liked them. But as they say, horror movies are the roller coaster ride of a cinematic experience. And it is true, because you put your audience through the ups and downs, the ascent, the arc, and then you drop them as hard as you can. So you get those screams, which are jump scares, and I love scary stories ever since I was a kid. I mean, the first, like you, I was, Vanessa, Godzilla movies still. I love Godzilla, the rubber monster suit, and just the classic, King Kong Godzilla, just the bad voiceover dialogues, the army guys with the white gloves, and the toys that these things are breaking. That was just awesome, And then you get sci-fi, Tarantula, the giant bug era of the 1950s, and then you get Universal. You can't have horror without Universal monsters, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon, all of that right there was just paved the way. But then come I think I was 6 years old, so I've been 1977. I'm home with my oldest brother Joe, and my parents are in this native bowling league. So it's a Friday night, they're bowling and, hanging out with their friends after. So I'm left with my older brother, and I remember him, we're both sitting there on the floor in the living room. He's playing solitaire. And I said, hey, can I watch Creature Features? Creature Features was this local monster TV show that, had the cheesy host. Of course, in the Bay Area, we had the legendary Bob Wilkins with his cigar and his rocking chair, and, he would present movies. And so here comes this movie, black and white movie. I figured, black and white movie like Universal or whatever, I'll enjoy it. This movie called Night of the Living Dead, and the George Romero 1968 classic. And it's the first time I saw it. So my brother's like, yeah, go ahead and watch it. The movie blew me away. It was no longer the Mummy, Dracula. It was zombies eating people. And just at that time, very hardcore violence in black and white. I don't think anybody ever from my generation that grew up on Universal Monsters and, schlock films, never seen anything like this. And I remember going back to school the following Monday, and a lot of my friends watched it, and their parents were mad. The teachers were mad because all of us kids were talking, and then she grabbed that thing and killed her mom, and then she ate her dad's arm, and those people blew up in the truck, and the zombies were, we were just all about this film. And then I wanted more. Then came Jaws, and then The Exorcist, and then comes to me just the cornucopia, the holy grail of horror, Halloween. And when I saw Halloween, I was like, I think at that age I was, 1970, I was 7 years old. And I said, that's what I want to do. I want to make films like this. So I saw everything. My head was just open, and all this was just pouring into my head. My parents nurtured it. They bought me horror magazines, Famous Monsters. They bought me comic books, and because I wasn't scared, I had no fear. I had no fear at all of this, of the unknown. And there was a couple films. I will tell you, the one film that terrifies me to this day And I think living close to the beach, kind of, Jaws. Whenever I watch Jaws, I have to have my feet on the couch. I can't have my feet on the ground. Yeah, I have to. And there was a time when I did this water therapy thing, whereas myself and 20 other people went to this facility that had a swimming pool with a black bottom. And we were, floating in there, and we watched Jaws. And that didn't help. It didn't, that did not, a lot of my friends say, hey man, you live like close to the ocean. I'm like, yeah, but I respect it enough to keep my limbs. I'm not going in that water, and I love it. But yeah, so horror is just, to me, it's a fun genre to work in. And I am so happy to say that the people that I've worked with that believe in my projects, that came to the project, we've had so much fun. I mean, they hit me up all the time. When are we going to do another one? When are we going to do another one? There's talks of people are trying to push me to do a second part to the smudging. As if the first part wasn't bad enough. They want a second part. But that story, there's plenty more story to tell from that. And the smudging is filmed in, I know Cesar saw some of it when I showed it at UCLA. And the most impressive thing that I've heard that I love, that I hold to heart, is a lot of people think it's real. The way that I filmed it, I used a faux documentary style. Like the first act of the film plays like a documentary. And a lot of people, let's just say the American Indian Center of Chicago, when it was still in that building, they've since moved, but when it was still in that building, got a lot of unnecessary attention. People visiting, wanting to know, okay, where's this entity hiding? They thought it was real. They wanted to talk to the real people that, experienced it. And we're like, well, that's just a character. Like, I still get people that recognize me, still call me Bad, my character from the movie. It's like, oh, Bad. Hey, we have this ghost in our building. Do you think you can? They actually think that I'm like a ghost hunter, that I can. And I have to tell them, oh, it's just a character in a film, but thank you. That makes me feel good that it was impacting that way. So a lot of people thought it was autobiographical. They thought it was a real film until they see the second and third act and realize, oh, it's a feature film. And kind of interesting, if I can tell the story real quick. When my film premiered at its first Bay Area release was in San Francisco at the American Indian Film Festival. And what I'll never forget is seeing my film at an AMC theater on the biggest screen ever. That was just like, it was such a great feeling. But watching the film and sitting in the back, whenever I screen it, I always sit in the back so I can see how people are reacting. There was this group of, I would say 5 or 6 women, Native women, that came and they sat down and they watched it. And then at one point, they got up and left. All of them just got up and walked out. And so I, told my brother, I was like, I'm going to go see what's up. And he's like, okay. So I go out to the lobby. They're standing out there, and one of them was visibly shaken. So I walked over to them, and, they all looked at me and they're like, oh my God, you're the guy from the film. And I was like, yeah, I directed it and made it. I said, but I just wanted to ask you, what was it okay? Did it suck? Or, why did you guys walk out? Was it boring? And one lady stepped forward and she said, can I talk to you for a second off to the side? I was like, yeah. She said, we're from White Cloud Lodge. White Cloud Lodge is a battered women's shelter. And they said, we're from White Cloud Lodge. And she said, that one scene in the film where your character is listening to a woman being murdered. Because in the film, a serial killer sends the police an audio tape taunting them when he's killing this woman. And that scene is in the film. And they said that it rattled them. They said that scene was too much. It was too intense. And they were asking that young woman, is she really dead? And I told them it's fictional. I mean, yeah, it's a real life situation, but it's made up. The young woman on the audio tape is my friend Alicia. She's fine. You know, the guy playing the killer, he's a great guy. You know, it's fictional. It's a film. They thought it was real, and so they were just kind of like, well, we're going to hang out here for a little bit. And I said, that's fine. You know, and I apologize. I said, I'm sorry that rattled you. You know, I didn't want to disrespect anybody. And eventually they came back. They came back for the second and third act. And then later on, they said it was a really enjoyable film, sans that part. But even that scene, Dr. Marin and myself, when I filmed that scene and I was editing it and she listened to it, she said that, you know, she said, I don't know if you should play this part because for the audience, it might resonate too much with them. And then, of course, boom, here comes the angel. Boom, here comes the devil. The devil part's like, but bro, it's a horror movie. You know, go ahead and show it. You know, push the envelope. And then the angel side is like, you know, hey, I think you should listen to, you know, kind of tone it down, man. Tone it down. So I edited that scene at least 50 times to get it to where it's shortened, it's presentable. It's still impactful. It's one of the most impactful scenes in the film. And as we talked about earlier, abuse and abuse with Native people, especially now MMIW, you know, I think that scene kind of has that element of just realism. That's the real element that I brought to this project, was that scene. Prior to that, I actually went and got permission from an elder. If we can do this kind of film, if we can make this kind of film, which I think a lot of Hollywood productions that have to deal with a scary Native theme, you know, they don't do that. They don't ever consult with an elder or even with us, with Natives. You know, they make a lot of hokey trope filled, you know, scary Native movies, you know. And I think that when you have that discipline, especially when you belong to that culture that you're going to tell a story about, you have to go to your elders and ask them permission. Is it okay? Not only that, is get a blessing, because what you're going to do is scary. You know, it's material that, you know, a lot of our tribes, you know, a lot of tribes from you know, North Pole to Tierra del Fuego, you know, a lot of our tribes have these superstitions, these taboos, things we don't talk about, times when you can tell stories, or, you know, whatever cycle the moon is in, we can talk about that. And I think that going to tell these kind of stories, you have to get permission and a blessing. And after every shoot, you have to smudge. You have to, you know, to use a colonial term, we have to detox all that that material out of ourselves, and so we don't bring it home. But I think, speaking about Native horror movies, it's very interesting because, like I said, there's a lot of things we have to be careful of. We can't really tell a true story. For a little footnote, for the smudging, we had stunt sage because we didn't use real sage. We had stunt sage. So I went around the neighborhood and found plants that looked like sage. And then we used that in the film. The cornmeal in the big ceremony scene was sugar. And a lot of the things we left out, like when we talk about one of the things that I've been asked about is in the smudging, is I introduced a tool called the sage grenade, and it's actually patented, the design. So if any other film wants to use a sage grenade, they have to ask me for permission, because I designed it, I presented it. And it was funny because the patent office, you know, their government, of course, they emailed me and said, I don't know if we can patent a weapon. I was like, it's a film prop is what it is, not a weapon. It's and I'd explained the whole thing. They even asked for a copy of the smudging so they can see how it's used. And so they're like, okay, we'll stamp this, have fun with your film. And so the sage grenade was stunt sage and sugar and a little bit of lighter fluid. And it was really just a fun thing to watch the audience react to when I first say that. You know, we'll bring the flashlights and the sage grenades, and then people will just, oh, sage grenade. So I get people emailing me now. It's like, hey man, dude, just like jokingly, I think there's a ghost in my house. You have any sage bombs? And so a lot of people like to use that term. But yeah, it's I know it was a very long-winded answer, but horror is, to me, horror, suspense, thriller, scary movies. It's fun, and it's along the lines of therapy. It's also that too, because I can't be afraid. I've spent so many years being afraid that now it's time to make friends with the fear and to have fun with it and say, hey man, join me on this ride. Let's go scare some people. So that's what we do. Me and my buddy Fear.
That's awesome. Where can we still see the smudging? Because I saw you had an Amazon certificate for 25 million views. So is it on Prime or where? So it's on Prime. Okay.
Yes.
My husband's listening to this. We'll have to watch it. But I have to watch it with somebody. I can't just watch it alone. I'm watch it with somebody. I thought it was real, the trailer. I was like, is this real? I was questioning. I knew you're a filmmaker, but I was questioning. I was like, this looks real. So I'm glad you said it's fictional. Now I feel a little bit more comfortable.
It's funny because you know, as an independent filmmaker, you know, after looking at the first reviews that came in on Amazon, some were very uplifting. And I swear, if I was just, oh my God, some of them just tore me a new one. You know, they must have been on drugs when they made this, and they must have did that. And this guy, all the reviews he's got, he must have had his friends do it. It's like, yeah. So, you know, that's why they're friends. You know, they go and they help you out. As fellow artists, we help each other out. But to get the recognition it's getting, it's made a couple of short lists of the top 5 Native films to watch, the top 5 Native horror movies to watch. I mean, to see it up there with the likes of, you know, Blood Quantum and the Dead, what was Rod Powell's film, The Dead Don't Dance, which is also on Prime. I give a shout out. It felt good, you know, felt good to be on those short lists and to still get people that recognize you for your work. You know, I think the smudging has become kind of a cult classic among Native independent film audiences. I have to quote a scene from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Jack Nicholson's character, McMurphy, tries to lift that marble sink that's in their bathroom, and his veins popping out of his head, and he's really pulling it, and they're all sitting there watching him. And he just tries so hard, and, you know, Chief Bromden is sitting there holding his broom. They believe in him. And then he gives up, and he just kind of sits there, and he walks out, and he walks past them. And this quote always gets me. And he says, "I tried, damn it. At least I did that." And as a filmmaker, you know, if this, as far as it goes with just these few films, I tried, damn it. At least I did that.
Wonderful.
And the hell you did, Mike. I remember a couple. I can't remember if it was a year or something. You made this post on Facebook, sharing a certificate. I think what was it, 1 million or 2 million views at the time of the smudging? Do you recall that? I think it was like 1 million.
It was just this thing I made. I checked my numbers, and it was up to 5 million.
5 million. And how long was that?
Oh God, that was all this happened. I put it on Amazon in 2019.
There you go.
And all this happened within a few months. They told me you're averaging 500 to 600 views a day, streaming views a day. And then to see when I broke 1 million, you know, I was like, okay, cool. And then the Dr. Marin in me kicked in. I was like, oh, nice, great. And then when it started getting, it got reviewed by Tribe Called Geek. Johnny J reviewed it, and a couple other podcasters got on board with the project. And pretty soon, I got hit up from people in Germany, like, oh my God, I didn't even know like Native Americans had a horror genre. And there's a few that came before me. I'm by all means not the godfather or the launch pad or the star. There's other filmmakers that did it before me, and I'm just proud to be in that same arena with them. Share the same space with them. It's an honor. But to see that, it's cool. It's like, but then you have, of course, you're going to have the Debbie Downers that are like 25 million, Avengers got that in one day. It's like, well, that's the Avengers, multi-million-dollar budget. You know what I would do with a multi-million-dollar budget? I would feed homeless people as well and still make a top ramen fueled film. If you can have enough to feed your cast and crew, hey man, look, it's fun. If you have a few extra bucks to give them, cool, man. But I'm always the last guy to get paid, which is how it should be. I'm always the last guy to get paid. As long as I'm having fun, that's the best part. If I can make enough money to get extra toppings on the pizza, that's a win. That's a win. And other things started coming in too. Like, if I may talk real quick about one of the most important things I would like the viewers to know is, if you really want to know the impact of mainstream horror cinema on Native American people, what we think about horror, and also Hollywood's version of Native horror. I have a documentary that I did, is actually won an award for Best Documentary. And it's on YouTube for free. It's called Cinema Red, Natives and Horror. And I feel as far as the horror genre goes / documentary, this is an important film. This is probably one of my most important films as far as talking about the horror genre and Native American culture, because I was so happy to find 9 Native artists from all different mediums to come forward and speak with me, have a conversation with me about films. And I think a lot of that information in that film is gold. I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's one of my favorite projects I've done. It's my first documentary, and I had a lot of fun making that one too. But it's an important film because it from the perspective of 9 artists talking about how horror movies affected them, and then more importantly, them seeing Native themed horror movies from Hollywood, how that affected them and made them want to make more, like open it up more, get rid of being the backdrop, get rid of the whitewash, have us tell our own stories. This film is very important, and I encourage, not just because it's my film, I would do this with any film about that subject matter, but any Native filmmaker, independent filmmaker, upcoming filmmaker, please watch that film. You might find something in it that resonates with you enough to turn your soil, enough to make you have a breakthrough and improve on what you're doing, and then pass it along, pay it forward. And that's why I put it on YouTube. It's free. It's an informational film that I think I didn't get paid for, and I don't care. It was a story to tell, and I told it. It's kind of a footnote. One thing as an artist I hate is the word should. You know what you should do? It's like, oh, in other words, I should let you take it over, because when I do what you think I should do, it becomes your project. No. So I had a lot of people saying, you should have got Graham Greene, you should have got, Wes Studi to be, yeah, that would have been great if they kind of lowered their fees to free. It would have been great. But I believe in my projects is I don't pick the best people. I pick the right ones. And these folks that came forward, these 9 artists that came forward, and it was such an honor to talk with them. It was great. I mean, it was great. I'm very fortunate to have Geraldine Keams, who's in the show Rutherford Falls, and she was in Outlaw Josie Wales, and to have her be on the project was awesome. Everybody that came to the project was beautiful, and I love them all. I appreciate them all, and I consider all of them family, which is how I consider everybody I work with. They're family now. They're my family now, and I appreciate and I love each and every one of them.
That's super dope, Mike. Thank you for sharing all those stories, anecdotes. Go check out more about Mike on. You have a YouTube channel, Mike, right? It's under your name.
Yeah, Mike J. Marin, MikeJMarin.
That's right. Go give him a follow. Go check out the film.
Cinema Red.
Cinema Red.
Cinema Red, Natives in Horror. Real quick, there's also a kind of a follow-up to the smudging on there as well, called The Parties Downstairs. It's a short film that I shot in Oakland at the American Indian Child Resource Center. They have this old Victorian building by Lake Merritt that they let me have for a couple nights. So The Parties Downstairs is also Unbox the Art of Action Figure Photography. My action figure photography film is not made public yet. It's still being considered by film festivals, but hopefully that'll be another YouTube edition. It's an informative film as well. Plus it features a lot of AFP artists that I've met on Instagram. And I will let everybody know when that, follow me on social media, Mike J. Marin on Facebook. And later on, I'll give you the whole list of my Instagram pages. But yeah, I'm on this ride and I'm enjoying it.
That's awesome. It's such a pleasure having you today. Thank you so much for speaking with us and taking the time out. We appreciate it.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Anytime.
Yeah, Mike, we're going to have to bring you on for a second time because we typically keep our episodes, an hour to an hour 15, and we're pretty much getting there to the deadline of our time. But we also want to be appreciative of your time. We know you're really busy. You got a lot of activities going on. I do want to ask one last thing, Mike. Any final words you have for this episode? Anything you want to share with the audience? Anything you want to let us
close us out, Mike. Close us out.
Don't let the hard days win. Don't let the hard days win. Every day you can smile as a victory. Any day you can put that right foot in front of that left one and rinse and repeat, it's a victory. Any day you can get up in the morning, and move your body, it's a victory. Anytime you get a smile back, it's a victory. Anytime you can lay your head down in a bed and think to myself, what a day this was, it's a victory. Anytime you can shed tears over pain and move forward from that, or make an effort to, it's a victory. Anytime you get that phone call, saying that, your project's not good enough, look to that as a victory, because at least you got the consideration of that phone call. You didn't just get passed over. At least someone looked at your work. Any day you come up with an idea and you water it and you watch it grow, man, that's a victory. Just anytime you can tell someone you love them, you can have someone tell you they love you, that's a victory. All these things you put together as victories, that's the stuff that makes your heart medicine. Because then in all that humility, you learn to pay it forward. You don't have to post it on social media. Nobody has to know it. Nobody has to know your struggle. But as long as you have that ability to make those breakthroughs and you don't let the hard days win, those are victories. That's it.
I thought you wanted to mention the ghost story, Mike.
Oh, that's what he, yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Okay.
Good acting, though.
Okay, so quick footnote. All right. For those of you that watch the smudging, I have an extra added bonus for you. In the film, we actually caught a shadow figure while we were filming. And I kept that footage in the film. So there is a scene where we are upstairs in this really dark room. It was another part of the tribal hall was on the third floor. And we're up there investigating a noise. And there's a quick scene where I move the camera past an exit sign. And in the doorway, there's a shadow figure. And a lot of people will be are like, oh man, now you guys, there was somebody up there. And it's like, oh, it's one of your guys' shadows. You guys had flashlights. But if you slow the film down, you look, none of our flashlights were reflecting on us to where it would cause a shadow on that wall. And when I was editing them, of course, it's late at night, I have all the lights off, in my studio, and I'm sitting there looking at it. And literally this is, here's a reenactment of that. So I'm editing, going over, and then all of a sudden I'm like, no way. So go back, slow it. I'm looking, and it's like, holy shit. And so it's 3 a.m. Los Angeles time. So I'm calling the cast and crew that were with me that night. It's like they're in Chicago, 5 a.m, 6 a.m there. So like, hello, I'm like, guys, when we were shooting such and such, da 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 da. They're like, no, I said, I'm gonna send you something real quick. So I made a quick MP4 of the footage. I sent it over to them. The girl, the actor, Sam Marin, who actually plays my sister in the film, she's like, thanks, bro. Like, I'm awake now. I'm not going back to sleep. And they're like, yeah, there was just the 3 of us up there. There wasn't anybody else up there. It was just us. So I showed that to my brother. I showed that to Dr. Marin, and everybody was just like, holy crap, you guys caught. So my brother actually put together an MP4 and sent it to that Ozzy Osbourne show. Was it the Osbournes Want to Believe, where people send them ghost videos and then they examine it? So he sent it to them. Haven't heard from them yet, or I doubt if we ever will, but they probably get thousands of them a day. But just the idea that film has an actual shadow figure caught on it. And I left the footage in. I left that scene intact. And as far as I know, we're the only horror movie that's ever had something that ever captured something like that and kept it in the film. So
that is epic. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I got chills. I got chills.
Yeah, it was funny. Everybody that has seen that, I don't know, a majority of people watch it in the dark. They're like, oh my God, after I saw that, like, flip the lights on. It's like, well, I should have told disclaimer, but turn the lights on before you watch. So yeah, that's a lot of people like, and of course, with one thing I got to compile one of these days is a blooper reel for the smudging. I mean, there were so many times. There's a scene where we have to run upstairs to the roof of the building because we think one of the characters jumped off to get out of the building. And that was running from the basement up to the 4th floor, up to the roof. That's 5 flights of stairs. Chicago does not believe in elevators. Yeah, you could live in the top of the Sears Tower and have to walk it. So imagine carrying your groceries up there. Anyway, that took about 8 takes, and I was bigger then. I was considerably like 300 plus pounds, and I was like, okay, I was channeling my old sports energy, like, okay, 8th grade basketball drills, here we go, running up and down those stairs, running. Even got to the point where I was like, I got to hear my dad's head yelling at me. But man, by the time we were done shooting that scene, my legs were jelly. I was barely, I was like, can there be a scene where like I'm wounded and just kind of limping up the stairs? Like, bro, you wrote the film, you're the director, like rewrite it. So I was like, no, I'll muscle through it. But when we got to the roof and we're running on this roof looking for the character, we get, a couple of weeks later, we're talking to the building manager, and he's like, hey, you guys were running around on the roof the other night? I was like, yeah. He goes, don't ever do that again. We're like, well, we stayed away from the edge. He's like, no, dude. He goes, there are holes underneath the roofing that you could have just fell straight down into the second tribal hall. You would have just fell straight through and we're just kind of like, okay. It's like someone telling you, oh yeah, we played soccer in that field the other day. Oh, okay, that's an old World War II minefield, and they never cleared it. but I'm glad you guys had a good time, you know. So we had to thank the ancestors for that thing. For, you know, one of the scariest parts in the film was outside. There's a scene where I'm looking for a character out in the bushes, and there's a homeless dude laying in the bushes, and I move the bushes, and he jumps up with a machete, and he's like, "Hey," you know. And on the footage, I'm like, "Oh shit!" And I think that part's in the film. I think I left that, but yeah, we had to stay in the building and call the police because this guy was walking around the building with this machete, waiting for us to come out. And the funny part was, two of my actors are Marine Corps veterans, and they were afraid to go outside. I was like, "Man, you guys are in combat. You know." They're like, "No, that dude looks crazy." I was like, "Okay, you guys are killing me." So, but it was a lot of good times in that building. Just a lot of good stories, a lot of good laughs. Just a real fun time, and even also making the parties downstairs. You know, the having fun in that building, just laughing, and you know, a lot just talking stories about when we were kids in that building. And so yeah, it's you know, and once again I'm being pushed to make a smudging part 2. Kind of I played with the idea of doing it, but we'll see what happens. You know, I have a few other projects. I have to finish Figured It Out, AFP and Depression. I have to finish that one, and I have another one coming up, which is actually generating a lot of buzz. It's called First Voice, and it's a pandemic film. Yeah, that's and let's see another one. And I'm working on another Cinema Red. This chapter is called Full Native Horror, where I'm actually interviewing Native filmmakers who work strictly in Native horror movies. So still getting some of the footage. A lot of them are on all these projects, are scattered all over the US and Canada. So hopefully we can all get together and get this project rolling. That one's also on the plate. So yeah, lots of lots of things happening, and a book. I'm doing a book.
Oh my gosh! You don't have a plate; you have a platter.
Yeah, I'm at the creativity buffet right now. So, yeah, or what I like to call it, it's my spirit plate. You know, it's all these things I'm putting together to present, to make them gifts, to feed everybody.
Yeah.
But the book is called Shooting Plastic: The Art of Action Figure Photography, which I wanted it to be about 100 pages long. It's about 300 pages long, and Dr. Marin is still editing it. So when I looked at the first 20 pages, there was all these little stickies on it, and I was like, oh, I thought it was good, but apparently not. But that's pretty much everything I'm working on. So yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that with us, Mike. And hey, we're actually filming an episode real soon on we made this. I don't know if you heard of it.
Oh man, I got chills. Go ahead, Sai. Go ahead.
Have you heard of sleep paralysis, Mike? Or as they call it, when you feel you got a dead body on top of you, or you see hallucinations, quote unquote hallucinations. Yeah, we're shooting an episode podcast on that. We did a little. Me and Wyatt have these thing.
Little poll or something, right? It was the poll, yeah.
It was a little poll where we asked our native population, which we interact with, which mostly consists of UAME people, if they have experienced it. And what was it, Wyatt? Like 88%?
88% said yes. And people were messaging like, oh my gosh, you know, I didn't know you could know about, like, is this what is going on? Like, why is this a thing for us? Because I didn't know it was a thing for us. I never talked about it when it happened to me. I just talked about it with my mom. But then when Sai brought it up, I was like, oh shit, this is something that we all like experience one time in our lives, and something's going on. So we want to discuss it. We want to talk about it a little more next time.
So have both of you experienced sleep paralysis? Really?
Yes. I actually saw a figure. Oh, really?
Oh my God. I never have. No. Interestingly enough, a lot of my dreams, I've had, I think 5 so far, where I've died, and it's beautiful. Like I get mad when I wake up. Like I get really mad because where I'm at is where I want to be. And it's interesting because people say like, that's amazing that you wake up. A lot of people don't wake up from death dreams. And it's like, well, I guess it's really not my time yet, but still it's like, I guess it shows that I'm not afraid of it.
Yeah.
You know, if it happens, it happens. I hope, you know, whatever's on the other side is, you know, beautiful, and I'm able to make movies there too. But sleep paralysis, that's interesting. There's a good documentary about it on I think it's on Shudder. It might be on Amazon as well. It's just called The Nightmare, and it's about people that have experienced. But I've heard, like, my mom had it happen to her once, and she said it was something with sharp teeth and red eyes. Another friend said that same thing, that it just gets up and walks out of the room. But I can't ever, I've never experienced that, you know, knock wood, you know, virtual sage. You know, I hope I never experience something like that, because, well, for one thing, you know, I tend to have, you know, I'm a light sleeper. So if I feel something crawling on my chest, it's going to get a fight. You know, hopefully it's not Dr. Marin. But putting her arm around me is, oh God. She did punch me in her sleep one time. Yeah, it was interesting. She's laying there and she had this really sweet look on her face, and I didn't know she was half asleep, and I laid next to her and I looked at her, and all of a sudden, boom, socked me right in the face. Like, okay, I'm just gonna take all these blankets off you, like the middle of winter in Chicago. And so, but yeah, that I'm interested in hearing that show. I mean, that's yeah, because I've never met much of native people that have experienced. I've heard a lot of non-natives talk about it, but you know, there's plenty of stuff that our people, you know, experience outside of sleep paralysis, that, you know, it's like a wake paralysis, you know, things that we see and hear. And I have so many, like a vault of acquired stories and legends, you know, always told by my grandma late at night. It's like, okay, you kids get ready for bed, but I have a story to tell. And it's like, oh, great. Here we go in this house that makes tons of noises at night. So yeah, then she'll tell us a story and be like, okay, good night. It's like, thank you, Grandma. Yeah, but what I'm waiting for is a native female protagonist in a movie. Because if you watch a lot of films with a native protagonist, the only people he gets to beat up are other people of color. He gets to beat up the black dude. He gets to beat up the Mexican. He gets to beat up the other native guy. Excuse me, the drunk native guy who's probably a drug dealer, you know. But he never gets to, you know, he never gets to fight the police. He never gets to go up against a crime lord, you know. It's always like, okay, there's a native guy. If we need mysticism to the soundtrack of a flute playing and an eagle crying, then we'll get, you know, okay, call Wes Studi, see what he's doing, see if he can raise his hand for $5 million and tell a story with his eyes closed. I mean, that's the tropey shit that we got to get away from. Like, you know, my buddy Jim Terry, who's a comic book artist in Cinema Red, says it best. He's like, I've never seen a movie without a flute playing, without an eagle crying. And when he imitates the flute music, he's like, it's a, you know, that kind of thing. It hits the mark. It's like, that's true. It's like, anytime, you know, the only movie that never did that did not do that I've ever seen, that had like a shamanistic type character that can see beyond, was Predator. Like, anytime Sonny Landham, the late Sonny Landham, was seen on film, and I'm sorry, that dude was just badass in any movie he did. 48 Hours, Predator. I mean, for him to be the tracker in Predator, and to know, like, you know, we're all gonna die, you know, to know that, like, they didn't play no cheesy ass flute music when he was on screen. And then another good role for a native guy was in Heat. Wes Studi, like, anytime, like, they didn't turn to him, hey, Casals, what do you think? Well, after listening to the wind, I think he's going, you know, there was none of that. He was just an LA cop. That's all he was. And I think those roles we have to be able to step into. We have to tell Hollywood, like, for me, when I go into auditions, I tell them my stipulations are I don't play the buffoon. One thing I don't like also is native versions of. Like when I used to do rap music, oh, you're just a native version of Ice Cube. No, Ice Cube is Ice Cube. I'm Saint Mike. He doesn't talk about native issues, just like I can't talk about issues in Compton. I'm not from there. I'm from East Oakland. I can talk about stuff from there. And, but then when people say that, oh, the smudging is a native version. No. It is not. It's a Mike Marin version of a Mike Marin film written, produced, and directed by Mike J. Marin. That's what it is. And so, here's the secret to pissing off fanboys is you do crossovers. That can't happen. God forbid. I did this really good one that got featured in a magazine of Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, and he's blocking a lightsaber blow from Darth Vader. And I was like, I guess your guys' imaginations have limits and rules. Mine doesn't. A friend of mine, and a fellow, he got an award for doing one of Godzilla with a basketball and Kong guarding him. And they're
no way.
I'll send you the picture.
Oh my God, yeah.
Beautiful. This guy, we're talking AFP on a whole nother level. This dude never uses digital. He does it all practical, which I wish I had the space to do. But he creates these environments. His lighting is, he's just like, and he tells me, like, this dude gets thousands of likes, and he tells me, dude, like, I so look up to you. I'm like, okay, but I turn that back. But yeah, it's creating stories, creating crossover things like what if, a lot of what if stories. I did a layout of, I like to give my stormtroopers practical weapons, like military grade weapons instead of blasters. So I did this one photo shoot of them holding, AR-15s and with, scopes on their helmets and stuff. And people ate it up. But then the fanboys are like, that's impossible. They could blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You want a crying towel? Because I got collectible ones with Baby Yoda on them, But it's all about telling a story. And I like to tell stories, I like to listen to stories too. So sleep paralysis.
Oh man. Yeah.
I don't know. Part of me is like, boop, there he is with his horns. You want to experience it, don't you? No, I don't. Because I think something like that, I think every person has a breaking point. So something like that might push me over the edge. And then if we're seeing something like that, the next time I'm on, I'm going to be, holding the Bible. Well, all these films I did, maybe I was possessed, and then Cesar was going to be like, dude, but I thought possession films were a cop-out. So, but yeah, man, I'll never stop. I'll never stop wondering and imagining and just being me. I'm happy to say that this right here is not makeup anymore. My smile used to be my makeup, but not anymore. Like, this is all 100% me now. And I love it. I love having fun, and I love laughing and talking. And I think like one I wanted to say too about abuse is like, never get over it, but you make friends with it enough to where you can tell it to shut up. Hey man, shut up, get out of my head. You ain't gonna win this one. You ain't gonna win this one. But it's always a reminder of where you come from. It's always a reminder of where you come from and also where you want to go. I'm a firm believer that you don't win a race by running it backwards, but it's always good to keep it in the rearview mirror, because then you're not surprised. You're not surprised by it. And it's a process, like I didn't just become this overnight. So I read a book on depression and be like, okay, I got it now. I got all my demons on a leash. No, it's no, I don't. They're still out there somewhere, but you know what? They're away from me, and if I do get down in the dumps, there's ways to get around that. There's ways to not let it consume you. It's funny how when you look at depression and anxiety, it becomes, if you wrap yourself in it too much like a blanket, it becomes comfortable.
Mhm.
It becomes, it's a security.
Yeah.
It's like I'm safe here because I know I'm fucked up, and I know that this right here is just me. This is how it's going to be. But where I like to get is to the point where I can fold that blanket up and be like, you know what? Okay, cool. You're there. You exist. You'll never go away. But you know what? It feels a lot better to be up and free and moving around, and you seek other avenues for comfort, people, support system. Also, like if you have a good support system, that's key. That's key, is someone that is present and let going back to what I said, if I'm present in your, in your turmoil, I'm there to pull you out of the storm if you need me to. If you need me to, I'm there to do it. But you got to want it. You got to want to do it. And I think for me, it came to that point where I was like, I'm tired of being kept down by myself.
Mhm.
I'm tired of keeping myself down.
Yeah.
So that's why I look forward to every day. Every day is a new challenge to the same victory. I'm like, man, when I get up there, I want front row seats to your show. I want front row, all access to your show. And I just want to say that, Reggie Matthews, you'll never be forgotten. I love you and I miss you every day. Every day.